And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website. They will bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or you can head down and see them in person. Dayton, Kentucky, right across the river, minutes from downtown. Tell them to pump it up. You will save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. Well, Aaron, today is kind of the first day of the offseason for this show.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
Well, back
when,
where, you know,
when spring football is over, I think that's the beginning of the offseason.
But I mean, in terms of like no more post-game live shows, like we're gonna have to. We are in grind it out mode.
Not so fast, my friend, because if the baseball team makes a little bit of noise, we may have
a post-game show.
We may have to adjust some things just in case the baseball team actually does some things.
They're off to a pretty solid start under new coach Jordan Bischel. They did not have that early season hole to dig out of. They've been hovering right around 500. They've played some good baseball. The offense has been outstanding. So, I'm not ruling out. But I mean, in terms of like in basketball season, we knew twice a week the Nightcap was going to be a live show. During football season, once a week, we knew the Nightcap was going to be a live show. Now we're back into that grind, that off-season grind of coming up with content, coming up with topics to keep the people informed and entertained. And as is a lot of times the case in the offseason, that means Aaron is driving.
Well, first and foremost, it was a citywide holiday today as your Cincinnati Reds take down the Washington Nationals right after, who could have guessed, a Nick Senzel injury. Poor guy.
Scratched pregame is the scratched pregame on opening day is the most Nick Senzel storyline ever.
But Reds win. But that brought me to an interesting thought as I was trying to come up with ideas for this particular nightcap. The Reds offer something to the University of Cincinnati that not a ton of universities are able to do, and that is be present in the same city within a stone's throw from campus.
Yeah.
The football team specifically, I don't know if the basketball team does as well, but I know the football team, when they have guys in for official visits, they bring them to the banks and they have them stay at a hotel down that way where it overlooks the stadium. And that's not a coincidence, right? Like they want to show off what the city is about, where the city actually beats from, right outside of Clifton. So it's cool to see. I mean, today you had I know Scott Satterfield. I saw him on Twitter. He had a picture, I believe, from the right field moon deck out there. But there's obviously, people who aren't even connected with baseball take interest in having the Cincinnati Reds around this university.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, especially like if you're recruiting a kid from the city and they are used to life in and around a city, a lot of times when you put them in a college town, it's kind of a culture shock. And when you are able to sell, like, here is downtown, here is nightlife, here are restaurants and, places to go and things to do and opportunities when you're a college student to unwind, places to kind of get away from that, hustle and bustle that is student athlete life. Yeah. And, I think it is. And a lot of times also kids that aren't from big cities get caught up in it. Like, I'm going to go somewhere where there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. I've been a two stoplight town. There ain't shit to do where I'm from. I'm going to come here, and there's malls and restaurants, and there's professional sports teams, and there's just a lot. I know Dan Skillings was down at the ballpark today. A couple people on the board said they asked him if he was staying, and Dan said yes. I know that's not quite the same as an exit interview, but it's not a negative, right? That he's out in public and he's a face of UC basketball, a face of UC athletics, and I'm sure he enjoys being out and being recognized. And I mean, hell, I enjoy it. I was walking out of Kelsey's volleyball practice today, Aaron, and some man I had never met said, "Chad," shook my hand and said, "You guys produce great content. Thank you for doing what you do for UC." That makes me feel good. Do you think basketball players don't feel the same when they go to the banks and every 30 seconds somebody's like, "Well, Dan is pretty recognizable. Dan is hard to miss."
He is that.
He does not blend in with the crowd.
He's kind of got a look all his own. Yeah. CJ Frederick may go through a little bit different,
right?
Walking around through a crowd
or like
that. But
Day kind of looks like a normal person his age. Dan's different. Dan's 6'6" and has a big afro, and it's just kind of hard to miss Dan. But you get my point. Like the city life, the city aspect of Cincinnati is an asset. It's something that they can sell and that they can lean into. And an event like opening day only, magnifies that tenfold.
Yeah, it also, I don't think it hurts when this team does well, that things in and around the city also elevate. So as this team, if the Reds are able to hang on and play well through the season, as recruits come out and they're staying at the hotel, the bigger the crowds that are coming to these games, the more it's going to be impressive to these families that are coming in and getting to see what a full stadium looks like. Because at the same time, while they're competing for different dollars, it's still largely the same pot that they're competing for. And if you're not selling out a bigger ticket in the Cincinnati Reds, what's that look like when you're not selling out, or what's it putting in their head when they're worried about playing in front of crowds at Nippert or at Fifth Third? So I think it's going to be a good thing if these Cincinnati Reds do well. It keeps the young energy movement in the city going also, as this team is young and exciting. And I don't know, I'm always happy opening day, especially when you get a win. The weather was perfect today.
Perfect.
And let's go Red Legs.
And I've done a couple of those opening day parades, working at different radio locations, sitting in a radio van for 2 hours. It's 42 degrees and raining outside. It's just miserable. Today was picture perfect. Yep.
So that was the first topic I wanted to get out of the way. The other topic I wanted to talk about is the NFL meetings have been going on, and there have been a couple of rule changes. Just wanted to touch on those here real quick. Number one, the hip drop tackle is out. We'll see if the NFL can figure out what a tackle is not, as I'm still confused as to what a foul is and what a foul is not in college basketball, but I digress. Number two, we'll touch on all of them as we finish this up. Okay. Number two, kick returns are back, but different. The NFL is adopting basically the XFL rules, where you have 19 of 22 players starting within 10 yards of each other, and you can't begin running until the ball is fielded. We'll see how that goes.
I think
also
go ahead.
It also kills.
Damn it. I want to talk.
I know. That's why this is fun. It also kills the surprise onside kick, as you have to declare when you're going to actually onside kick. Fine, that's fine. Number three is about Christmas and the NFL. And with Christmas on a Wednesday, you're going to have teams. It looks like they're going to play on Christmas.
Yeah. they're going to try to step on the NBA's toes and flex their muscles.
Yep. And number 4,
And
the trade yes. The NFL is too big right now. And the number 4 is the trade deadline moving back a week to week 10. So just wanted to get your thoughts on kind of what these rules are, more so as they could potentially be implemented, maybe 1 and 2 more so than 3 and 4,
Yeah.
but how they could be potentially implemented in college football, or what other rule changes you feel like might be needed in college football at this time.
Hi, Ty.
Oh, that's new.
Hi, buddy. This is kind of a new thing. Watching basketball at home, when I yell, he thinks I need a hug. So he stands up here. Come here. I'll give you a hug. Come on. And I have to give him a hug. Oh. Because he thinks I'm upset. So I just yelled because you wouldn't let me talk. So he thinks Daddy needs a hug. He thinks it's hug time.
Sounds about right.
The hip drop tackle thing is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
I don't love it.
You can't hit him high.
Nope.
You can't hit him low.
Nope.
And now you can't grab him in the middle and bring him down.
In the motion, well, you can grab them in the middle. You just can't end up with your feet in front of you. From what I've seen in the videos, you can't end up in a tackle with your feet in front of you while essentially using your pendular momentum to drop it's one of those things where it's going to be really difficult initially to just get that out of your arsenal as a tackler, because you've been doing it for years and years.
What else can you do to tackle?
You saw, I don't know if you saw this or not, but one of the Bengals linebackers did Baki. He said we're about 10 to 15 years away from flag football. Enjoy this while you can. And I don't think he's wrong.
I don't think he is either. They are taking, look, you want to take head injuries out of the game? Yes, absolutely. Some of the stuff that was done in the past was dangerous.
Sure.
Flat out dangerous.
For your long-term health.
Dangerous.
Yes.
That stuff should be taken out.
Yes.
The knee stuff, like on purpose, guys that are diving at knees, that's unnecessary. Like, that's not, you don't have to do that to tackle somebody, to put your shoulder into somebody's knee and blow their knee. I'm with you. I'm with you so far.
Mm-hmm.
A tackle otherwise, if you're connecting with the guy in this vicinity, everything else is fair game. A guy, we're basically what this hip drop thing does is it eliminates ankle sprains. We're taking ankle sprains out of the game. Like, we're protecting your ankles.
It's more for ACL stuff, but
there's not near the ACL risk that there is when somebody's diving at your knees.
Look, I'm with you. I think that right now, if referees were operating at a very high level, I'd probably feel a different way about this. But given that everything feels so subjective, that and you're also currently running through the early stages of NFL and betting in a partnership, that there's too much, I feel like, at risk to think that this is going to go smoothly, because you're I don't know, it's almost like too many things have been brought to the table at once, that I don't know that you're going to be able to watch a game and not feel, as a fan of one team or the other, that the referees are not calling things in favor of the other team. And I feel like we're probably going to see lots of things that are you're going to go back and watch the replays and be scratching your head still, because something was called one way or the other that they can't go back and fix as you can in some of the other leagues.
Right. I don't know. You can't, until you get to the flag football point, it's a violent game. You can't take the violence out of football and have it be football.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Usually there's some type of equal and opposite reaction as well. So what is this going to cause to
Right.
happen? Where people are trying to figure out how to tackle that becomes something else now because you're not able to do this. So now we're finding other ways. So I don't know. Are people going to start just
Yeah.
launching themselves like Scud missiles directly at the core of your chest? And now
Yeah.
you have a DeMar Hamlin issue again because you got hit directly in your chest while in the just action of breathing, and it hits you at the right time. That you, I don't know. I think that there's
Broken
going to be
ribs. Like, are we going to have to protect broken ribs because somebody punctures a lung or
a
a
long.
kidney or now you can't hit them in the chest because that's the important stuff is right here. That's where the important stuff is.
What you were once doing around the hips has now become, I'm just coming here with my face mask up.
Right.
Because you can't go with the crown. So
I think, look, and that's exactly right. I think the hip drop tackle thing, if they were looking forward into what is the reaction to this move, I don't think they would like it. I genuinely don't.
I think some weird shit's going to happen this year. And I think that we're all going to realize that maybe this was an overreaction as opposed to, but that's the NFL. They're constantly
guys blow out.
reactive.
Look, man, if you're going to play football and you're going to make $15 million a year, your knees are at risk.
Name of the game.
You know what you can do? You can get a knee replacement. Pretty simple these days when you get older. Like that's not rocket science anymore for them to replace a knee. You know what's hard?
Starting your heart back up.
Right. The kickoff thing I love because I think we're going to see kickoffs again. Like I
think you're right. I think this is going to be fun.
Yeah, because I think they had eliminated it from the game, and I mean there was like 20% got returned last year or something, and it used to be like 80. I love that if you're not in the end zone and you catch it, you got to run, go. You better get going. So I enjoy kickoffs. I enjoy the guys that are good at running back kickoffs.
Agreed.
I think all of us would admit our favorite moments as Bearcat fans, many of them were Marty Gilliard with the ball in his hand, weaving through a defense.
Sure.
Those were
without question. Those are probably my earliest memories of watching Cincinnati football. That was when it became relevant, when it was Marty and that team. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I also think that, I don't care that it comes at the expense of these surprise onside kicks. Fine, whatever. If you're going to get an onside kick, just be good at it. Like you don't need the element of surprise. You have to announce.
Well, I mean, it eliminates what the little dribble where the guy just dribbles it 10 yards because everybody, as soon as he goes to kick it, starts running. Okay, you take out a trick play. I don't care. Give me kickoffs back, man. Give me kickoffs back. Give me a guy with the ball in his hand and 11 guys trying to murder him. Not with hip drop tackles. But, give me those. I will gladly trade surprise onside kicks for another 50% kickoff returns. And look, if you don't want them to return it, go get a dude that kicks it out of the end zone.
Let's hope that it kind of goes the way that we're leaning, and that's the NCAA does not adopt the hip drop tackle rule and does go the route of the kickoff rule if that's something that they decide to do. In regards to moving the trade deadline back, I offer you this. If the NCAA was to implement a rule where essentially it would eliminate the overlap of some of your scheduling, where you have teams that are prepping for bowl games or tournament games in basketball and the portal opening up. What do you think that is there something that can be done to where you're not having this overlap between an ongoing season and what is essentially free agency.
So here's what makes it ultimately near impossible, Aaron, especially in college basketball. There are, 350 teams or whatever it is in college basketball. There's 68 in the NCAA tournament. There's 32 in the NIT. So there's 100 teams playing in the postseason. I don't count the CBI because if guys want to leave, they're not sticking together to go win a CBI title or with CIT or whatever. So there's 100 teams. So that means there's 250 teams that for all intents and purposes, their season is done at the day of Selection Sunday. And a lot of them a week before that. So they have to get on with their lives, those programs. And they are having their exit meetings already. And guys are telling that coaching staff that I'm going into the portal. We're just going to tell them they can't for 2 weeks, and you're going to stop people from tampering, and because guys are still going to declare, they're still going to put on Twitter, I am entering the transfer portal. As soon as I can enter the transfer portal, everybody call me. That's the whole point of making that shit public, is to open for business.
And you can make the same argument for the NBA, the NFL, that they know that postseasons are still going on, and you're not allowed to do any tampering until the postseason's over and that window opens. And we all know it happens. You see it happen.
Well, but I mean, the NFL window opens, a month and a half, 2 months after the Super Bowl. That's a whole different thing than what we're dealing with in college. I will also say, Aaron, we're at 16, started at 68. So 32, whatever, plus teams are gone. 36 teams are gone, whatever the number is. 4 of those coaches took jobs the day after their team was eliminated. The day after their team got eliminated. You're telling me they weren't looking out for what's next before their team got eliminated? You're telling me that they weren't looking out for what's in the best interest of them? They weren't interested in the best interest of their old school. They were interested in the best interest of their new school. I don't think these players should be held to a different standard. If I'm going in the portal, I should be allowed to start the process of being in the portal.
Let's not kid ourselves. I'm sure there's plenty of conversations that are still happening, even outside the window.
Sure, but coaches can't officially contact a kid until the portal opens.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be able to change that. And if you do, I think it's going to be almost impossible to enforce.
Well, I guess the only good thing that could happen is if your season's not over and you open the portal and you have teams that are still playing, maybe that is somewhat leveling out of the playing field because you are still prepping, and maybe that's something good that comes of
there's
it.
There's a NFL, NBA draft element to the worst teams get a head start, and the best teams are busy doing something else, and they have to deal with it, I guess. Yeah. That's about all I got.
Good talk.
That's the nightcap. Good talk. I thought that was productive. We'll see you. I've got plans tomorrow night, so we'll see you Saturday-ish, somewhere in there. That's the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!